In today's video I have a little Rover television, the NW7101, made in Taiwan. Little 5-inch colour one, might even be a 6-inch, but I think it's 5-inch. I don't know if that's just some muck on the front or it's got some scratches. Bought this one ages ago and I never got around to even running the thing. It is supposed to work, I think, but we'll have a look and see. I can hear something running. Sounds like vertical and possibly horizontal. Yeah, I can hear the horizontal squealing. I say we're in AV mode or something. Oh, there is a bit of snow. So it certainly looks like it's doing something. I still haven't got around to setting up an RF signal on a modulator into the antenna here, and this has only got a analog tuner, so I've got the pattern generator for now. Now, I think most of these here, they have the little 3.5mm headphone type socket for antenna, so you need one of these little adapters. Power socket to 3.5, I think. No, it still says 75 ohms each way, so they're not a 300 ohm input. Wasn't sure if they were or not. Yeah, it says 75 on the TV. Also got a headphone, and we've got AV inputs, and we've got colour contrast and brightness on the back, or luminance as they're calling it. And it's coming out of the pattern generator, that'd be right. Where are we? Is that it? Must have been. Have we got the adjustments right on this thing, or is that just a bit of rubbish we're picking up? That should be the crosshatch pattern, I think. Let's go to the colour bars. Now we're just out on the horizontal hold or something here. Nothing would surprise me. I think we might be. Although, did we have horizontal hold on the back? I don't think we did. Maybe I'll set this up on the AV first. I doubt anyone would have checked the actual tuner. Do we have any other adjustments? Doesn't look like it. Switch there, and oh yeah, now it's locked in. We did have a bit of a lack of horizontal there for a while. Let's see if it locks in. Not the best geometry on earth, and well, there's a little bit of purity issues, probably because I've got it sitting up like this. Probably, does it have a degaussing switch on this one? Doesn't look like it, so maybe it's got automatic degaussing. Give it a manual degauss. Give it a bit of a going over, and yeah, it's fixed it, so it's probably just me moving it around. Has upset things a bit. Let's go back to bars. Luminance. Colour balance is a bit out, a bit bluey green looking. So brightness goes right down. Geez, that control's tight. Probably hasn't been used in years, and that's full brightness. That's pretty good, and I assume we're at full contrast, probably. Looking at that a little close. Oh, that is super tight, that pot. There are only like little trim pot things hanging out the back, and you can barely get to the colour one, but there's the saturation. So that's all looking good, but we didn't seem to be getting much on RF, so I might try that again. I haven't checked the sound on AV. Oh, there it is. sort of. Certainly noisy enough. Whoops, I keep forgetting that's, yes, it's doing some weird, is that just the tuning's drifted? It's got some issues, I think. Give it the old thumb test. Oh, maybe that just drifted off again. And then I can't get it back in again. Oh, there it is. Let's turn it off. It's sort of locked back in, but it's... So it may have a few issues. Nothing real major there, I don't think. I would like to get that grayscale a bit better, though. I probably should run it a bit longer before tweaking it anyway. I think normally these just, yeah, pull that little tab down and it should slide off. And there we go, it's just tight. Oh, we do have a horizontal hold underneath, so that's handy. Date code 2688, so that may well be week 26, 1988. Would be about right for this thing. Passed a few quality controls. What's this other thing here? Don't know, something metal down that hole as well. That hole doesn't do anything. But possibly it's worth giving that horizontal hold a quick tweak as well. But at least we can access that from the outside. And yeah, see if this thing comes apart easily or not. Some of them do, some of them don't. But I don't think this has got much. The beauty about those little pots like that, even though they're a bit fiddly to use, is they just... You can just slide the cover off, which was the general idea of them around this sort of era. You just undo the full of screws and the whole thing comes off usually, and then it's just a matter of aligning all these bits back up when you put it back on again. But yeah, generally these little Rovers weren't a bad little TV, but they are your typical sort of made in Taiwan thing. Not the greatest quality, but not too bad either. And we've got two screws up there holding something on, which we've definitely got some wires attached here, so I've got to be super careful with these tubes that you're not pulling like we are, because there's the speakers wrapped around the picture tube socket, of course. Just about every time that happens. And what are the screws holding? Is it just the speaker holding on? Can't be. Oh, the antenna is holding on. So how do I unplug the antenna? That comes wrapped around the picture tube socket every single time. It's yanking around one of the pots on that, as they're almost like designed to break the picture tube, these sets. And that's all it was. It's got plenty of wire there. It's just, it was all wrapped around here. Very flat little tube. It's probably a Matsushita or something. It is by the look of it. Matsushita A14JJD30X. So often the tubes were made in Japan because they had the skill to do it, and the machinery set up and all that sort of thing. Yeah, tiny little line output transformer, like a standard sort of low voltage set, 12 volt regulator there. What have we got? A TDA 4505. I think they're a sort of combo of everything, jungle chip. Little tuner on there. Often these were not the greatest looking circuit boards and stuff in these. Looks like the line output transformer may have been changed in this. Certainly got shiny side. We've got a dry joint starting on that. Transistor, is it? Yeah, something on that. It's a horizontal output transistor. So yeah, generally Taiwanese stuff, the soldering was not the greatest. I wouldn't be surprised these sockets haven't got a lot of solder on them, particularly that one. I might give that a quick going over because it's pretty standard for these things not to be the best. And I'll stick it on that side, I think. Might as well warm it up a bit and get the tube warmed up so we can test it. Which one was audio and video? So That is the video socket's rather loose. The pins that are meant to be soldered on the outside aren't soldered at all, so it wobbles around quite a bit. So someone didn't do their job in the factory, or the wave soldering machine didn't. Can hear the yoke quite loud there. And it's got AV mode. Probably should give that switcher clean too. Yeah, we've definitely got a horizontal hold issue at the moment. Assuming that is a horizontal hold issue, it could be something else. Of course, not labelled on the board, the horizontal hold. Oh, there we go, we're locked in. And it locks the whole range, that'll be right. Off and away with these things. Usually set it for sort of middle of the range where it locks, but sometimes they just go off and won't do what you want. And then you'll turn it off for a while, turn it back on, and it'll lose lock again. Maybe I should turn it off a little bit and just see, because you've got to be a bit careful with these. They often will play up again. I can hear it and it sounds like it's on frequency. And to be fair, the colour balance is looking pretty good now. It is still a little on the blue-green side, mainly in the low lights, I think. Whether this has adjustments for everything, I know we had a couple of pots on the board there. I've got to be careful here that I don't short this circuit board out on any plugs or anything, because it's running. And of course, don't put your hand under it or anything, because there's plenty of nasties to bite you. Even though it probably feel worse than it actually is, but we do have a horizontal section and stuff, so we've got two pots there. Where does the colour actually come from is the next question. I can see it going down on the board somewhere. There's a colour delay line under the yoke connector, so I can see, well, that's what these other pots I can see sticking through the bottom of the board might be. That was our horizontal. I think there's two pots. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to know what's what. Let's see what the ones on the neck board do first, I guess. That's the upper ones, make it more blue. I think that's more the highlight zone. That's all it needed, a little bit of red on that lower pot there. And it may be a little too red down the backs, I'm not sure. Well, it's certainly looking nice and red on the red screen. Let's just tweak it through the brightness range. Oh, that's looking really good. That's proper monochrome again. Pattern generator's doing some weird stuff. I must get onto that one day. So we just seem to have some other weird stuff going on there. Is that just, yeah, it is just a pattern generator. Actually a bit of hum coming out of it, but yeah, that's looking fine. Just need that little bit more red in it to be perfect. And hopefully the horizontal hold now locks in a bit better. And you just got to be careful if you tip these upside down that you're not resting on the picture tube socket or anything. Looks like the yoke hits the bench first. Because you don't want to risk bumping it with a picture tube socket sitting on something, because you may break it. They're reasonably strong, but it's often when you do some little thing that they seem to snap off, like pulling those speaker wires and stuff when you're opening the back up. So there's a couple of little transformers and stuff there, I think. But yeah, this is certainly not the world's greatest soldering. Check the yoke connector, I think that is. I might fix those AV sockets up so they are soldered a bit better, because they didn't do their job in the factory on that, and that's why often this Taiwanese stuff didn't have the best quality control, unfortunately. Yeah, that socket's dry as there, so that's partly why it's a bit loose, which is not uncommon in these, because if they've had some use. But yeah, none of these, or maybe that one pin, but a lot of these haven't been fully soldered on the board. This one at least has the outer bits done, so they're not too bad, but should have solder all the way around, not like 50% like they've done. Get some bigger solder here, and just the more the merrier with. But this socket here, the two pins, I mean, maybe they had a slight bit of solder on them, but they're virtually solder free. So that means that socket's bound to get dry joints on it. I mean, it did have some on that originally, but that was dry jointed. So at least the AV socket's good now. Problem with these boards, I could solder them all day, because every joint you look at it's not perfect. What is that thing? Oh, that's the switch. Could be worth going over, I guess. Since it's the AV switch, that would have been fiddled with a bit and possibly bumped. I think the rest of it's pretty good. It's worth checking these trim pots, because again, people adjust those or bump them on things because they stick through the back cover. Might just resolder a lot of them just to be sure. I guess we should check the tube socket as well. You never know. Better be careful about these wires dragging on things. I can unplug the speaker there. I probably should check that board as well. Oh yeah, this little RGB drive transistor doesn't look brilliant. What are we got going on here? Someone's been messing around and adding in components they forgot to put on the board or something. Maybe a bit of a revision there or something. That's two of the RGB transistors. Where is the other one? One there, one there. That's in here somewhere. Oh, probably these three pins. Let's see if we can get that cover. I really probably should have unsoldered and unplugged that. What do we got here? Where's that? Must be the tuner down here. Oh, yeah, well, there's the 4 pins on the corners. Might do that, whatever it is. Looks a bit like a transistor, possibly, but could be any one. There's actually another 3 pins here, so it's something 6-pinned maybe. That joint is not the best. Maybe an IF can or something. That is probably worth doing. I did do that transistor on the other board, I think, didn't I? That I could see was not good. That, whatever it is, probably a connector or something. There's that speaker connector we've been pulling on. That's the one down here. That probably could do with a go over. That all looks pretty good other than that. And a lot of dust in there. I might just give that a quick brush out. Speaker is well and truly glued in there with hot melt or something. They can often be a pain to get out if you ever had to change a speaker. That's the other reason you should really unplug it, because if you're not careful and you pull on one of these wires a bit, you will rip the terminal off at the speaker end. There was a TAC television, little portable 34, that was a bit of a trick one like that, because it had a speaker stuck to the side panel, and of course you'd just pull the back off and keep going, and then suddenly the wire would get to its end and damage the speaker. I think the first one I ever worked on of that model, that happened to me, so I had to cut the old glue around it and replace the speaker. Luckily they were plentiful second hand in those days. Just chucked another one in for them, but yeah, that was one to watch if you just sort of pulled the back off. Well, they had a CTM 343 or something, quite a horrible little TV, but that's why you saw lots of them for repair. But yeah, you just sort of, as you pulled the back up, the wire, before you got far enough to see it really, it would come to its end, and that'd pull the, because the speaker was on the side, it just pulled one of the terminals right back, and that'd tear the little copper bit out of the paper cone. So that was something to watch for and things. These ones thankfully usually give you a good length, and you tend to know that that's going to happen in these ones. I mean, the TIAC, it did have a speaker on the side. These are a little bit more obvious at least, because you see the speaker. The TIAC one you just didn't so much, weren't expecting it, I think, even though it obviously didn't have a speaker on the front of it. Yeah, there's always a few little tricks like that you got to learn, usually the hard way. But I think it does need a bit of a good clean up, but I think we can really put the rest of this roughly back together. Sometimes these are worth pulling apart. I think it almost might be worth pulling apart. There's got a spring thing in there, I think. Yeah, there's definitely a spring there. Because that's what they usually look like underneath, much like the old computer monitor stands. They did tend to wear a bit plastic to plastic like that. And the best way to clean them is to pull the whole thing to bits. Clean out all that plastic dust in there, which I think just keeps grinding it away a bit. But at least you can give it a proper clean this way. Could almost probably do with a bit of lubricating grease or something in there, but I don't think I'll be moving it too much. But I always like these little TVs, and they're very expensive. Back in the day it cost more for a little one like this than a full-size portable most of the time. I guess because of the specialty little tubes and stuff in them, and probably just because they ran off 12 volts and that, they're a specialised market. I guess they thought they could get away with charging a bit more probably. That feels pretty good. I probably should, I don't know if I can really clean that much, but I might clean up under the TV, because you tend to get that grit in there and bits of plastic dust and stuff, and it makes it more difficult to get on and off. It used to say something else on there. Oh, that's a label they've reused maybe. It's got writing under the black. Yeah, something I can see. Looks like letters in under there, so I don't know. I guess I recycled something there. Hang on, this doesn't look right. I better clean these bits too while I think of it, because that's the bit that grates away there. Now that should go with... Where's the little tab that I had? Oh, got the wrong way around. I was thinking that slotted onto the TV because it looked like it would. And can we get this? I don't know if that's met on there or might be a bit of something. No, it does come off, I think. Gooey stuff. I think we needed to clean the volume control. I should have took more notice, but I think it was alright. And unfortunately this is just like a flexible thin plastic, and they do tend to get scratched a lot. Might be able to polish that up a bit, but you can actually peel them off and replace them if need be. There's a lot of scratching on the front. Had a pretty hard life. And let's get the dirt out of it. I should have done that while I had the top off, I guess. Get the dirt out of that joint there. That looks a lot better. I think the antenna's a bit dirty. Oh, a bit dirty is an understatement. What on earth is on that? Grease or something. Probably someone's little kitchen TV or something. That was the other place so handy. Sit it on a cupboard or whatever. Little shelf or something. Yeah, that socket feels nice and solid now. And power. Can you hear the buzzing of the vertical? And that's all we got. Oh, there we go. It's a bit slow to warm up. That's coming out of the actual speaker, that is, because we haven't got any audio on the AV. Now, what are we on? Grayscale. We've still got colour then. And let's switch it to RF. See if we can still tune it in somewhere. I forgot where it was now. Yeah, seems worse than before. Oh, is it coming out of the pattern generator? No. Oh, wait, which lead are we on? No, it should be working. Gee, that socket feels loose. I think it's just my bellum or adapter. This actually must mute in when there's no sync. Oh wait, what band are we on? It helps if you're on the right band. I'll bump the band. Oops, I forgot. I always hit the off. That could even be the AGCs overloading or something. Awful place to put the AV switch, but they often did hide it in some spot like that because they were thinking you're only going to use it while you're plugging something into it. Certainly a much better picture on composite versus RF, so some of that may be picking up interference. And I think that balance pretty loose. Yes, it's a Rover Walkabout. It's possibly an Australian name. I'm not sure if Rover televisions existed elsewhere. They did make some 10-inch ones and a few this sort of size. Only CRT, I think. Did they? I don't know if they had clock radio they might have had them on those clock radio televisions, which I have one here somewhere. I think a Hanamix version. I guess I should dig that out and have a look at that too sometime. There's a few little CRTs lying around here, and most of them I haven't even got around to looking at. But anyway, that's that one serviced. It could probably do with a bit of polishing on the front to try and get rid of some of those scratches, or at least the worst ones. And other than that, it should all be good. So it's probably only going to get used mainly as a little display device, but quite a nice little TV. Some ways it probably look better if you did peel this front bit off, but then you lose all the labels there. But that should keep that one going, so thanks for watching.